best course.
Did you ever meet George?
George?
My brother George. And Curious George.
No, I never did.
And back in the old days, we acquired an operation in the Midwest, refining Canadian crude. Profit margin was staggering. But George, he got all high-minded about it. Thought that we were bending too many laws, so he bought a rival company, green energy type, and he sued us. Sued us. I mean, the betrayal. And my father's true religion was family, and he was troubled. He was deeply troubled by what George had done.
It's a Rabbi Jesus reference.
Any sibling bringing litigation against any other at the time of his death would automatically lose their share of the inheritance. Every damnable penny.
Listen.
He used that word, which is exactly what happened to George. Oh.
Hear that? The double emphasis is what they did to him.
George couldn't believe it. Accused me of tricking Dad into doing it when he was too weak to know his own mind. My father always knew his own mind. And George, he was just so broken up about it. Didn't even contest the will. Which, as far as I see it, means he had no place inheriting that kind of money to begin with. The man had everything he ever needed. He was just so
short-sighted.
Lives on some island in Maine now. You know what the worst part for me was? How much it upset Annette.
Now consider this scene that I saw on the exact same night, especially in lieu of the fact that the Last Temptation of Christ depicts Jesus as saying that I am the black goat.
We had been sailing up the St. Lawrence River for 12 days when we brought up in our nets the strangest animal that I had ever seen. The Indians had spoken to me of their sacred fish, but I was sure that it was only a legend. What I saw before me was a fish in the shape and size of a trout, but whose body was entirely covered with jet black fine fur.
A furry trout, sir. You must be joking.
No, sir. Salmo trutadermopilla from Canada.
Absolutely. It's as soft as mink.
Nature is extraordinary.
The water must be very cold.
That proves that the impossible is sometimes possible. Well said. There's a discovery that must have earned you honors in the royal garden.
But I doubt he deserves them. However, I do recognize Sir...
That very cold water, by the way, is a reference to Captain America. The hero savior sunk into the deep Antarctic cold polar water.
Your talent for comedy. Had I both my hands, I'd applaud you.
Jean-Francois, would you please be kind enough to excuse him, sir?
Your son is right, Count de Mange, yes. This animal does not exist. My embalmer at the Royal Gardens is a skillful man. Pardon me this little farce at your expense.
Are we to believe the moral of your story is that there is no beast in Gévaudan, and that our province is filled with idiots?
The moral of my fable, mademoiselle, is that we find dragons and unicorns only in books and poems. Lies may often appear as truths when they're dressed in Latin.
Be careful, sir. We may lose all sense of what you're saying.
But indeed, what are you? A naturalist or a philosopher?
Or worse, an actor.
I think our friend is above all Parisian.
Enough said about this evil beast. After all, it only devours vermin.
Charades? Oh, this morning I composed a little poem.